Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. As always, I am your host, Harrison Graham. Just a few days away from Monday Night Football between the Rams and the Chicago Bears. Can't wait for that one. We'll talk a little bit about that game toward the end of the show, but first, we got some rumors and news items to get into. Should the Bears sign Quinton Spain? Let's talk about this one. He was kind of surprisingly released by the Bills on Wednesday. Cody Ford, the young offensive lineman out of Oklahoma, has been playing well, so they went ahead and cut ties with Spain for just a couple million of dead cap up there in Buffalo. But this has obviously sparked a lot of chatter around the NFL. Could the Bears go out and sign him? We know this offensive line has had its fair share of issues, especially the past 3 weeks, especially now that James Daniels, arguably the best offensive lineman on this team outside of maybe Cody Whitehair, has been lost for the season. We know Rashad Coward is not that good of a player. Is he, I guess, serviceable? Sure, but I think Spain would certainly be an upgrade there at left guard and would be a much better option for this Bears offensive line. Oh, and guess who's back? Cordero Patterson is back on the recruiting trail, even if he says he's not, saying, I'm not recruiting, but I just watched at Quinton_Spain highlights, eye emojis at Chicago Bears. I love the I'm not recruiting, but I'm going to at my team's Twitter account. That's funny from CPAT there. Look, he knows it. This Bears offensive line, especially in the run game, has not been great, and Quinton Spain is solid. Now, is he an all-pro? Is he going to just save the day here? No, but can he be a minor upgrade for cheap probably? I think so. I think that's certainly something that could happen. He's only played in 4 games this year, so I wanted to show his last 4 seasons there. Hadn't allowed a sack this year or last year, so he's pretty good in that regard as well. So I'll ask you guys the question. Do you want Quinton Spain on the Chicago Bears? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments section. And while you're getting your answers in, we've gotten a bunch of new subscribers recently here on Chicago Bears Now. I appreciate you guys. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do so. But if you had, once you do, hit that notification bell. It's right after you hit the sub button. It's right there. And then after you hit it, it's going to give you a couple of different options. Select all, because once you select all, you're always going to be notified on your mobile device when we post a video up on the channel. I get tweets all the time, oh, I missed your last video. I didn't see it. That's because you probably didn't have notifications turned on. Only like 16% of you guys have hit that bell. So do it, subscribe, turn on notifications. You don't want to miss anything we're doing here on Chicago Bears Now. Now, should the Bears trade for John Ross? Let's talk about this one for a few minutes here. John Ross is, as probably most of you know by now, requested a trade from the Cincinnati Bengals. They obviously took him in the first round back in 2017. He wowed us with his 4.22 40 time. Maybe that's legit, maybe it's not. Either way, he's really fast. We all know that. The problem is injuries and flat-out inconsistent play have simply held him back in his career. He wasn't able to ever get on the same page as Andy Dalton when he was in Cincinnati. It hasn't happened with Joe Burrow either. They've opted to play other guys, and he's been banged up quite a bit. John Ross has been a player that has not been able to stay on the football field for the Cincinnati Bengals, and while I was intrigued with him coming out of college, I'm not sure how intrigued I am with him at this point. Look at the numbers. The 2018 stats were interesting, right? But 7 of his 21 catches were touchdowns. That's kind of fluky. I mean, he only had 210 yards. Kind of a weird season he had then. It just hasn't materialized into becoming a complete NFL wide receiver. And if you're saying, oh, the Bears need more speed, I think Darnell Mooney has done a good job of filling that speed role for this offense. Anthony Miller still gives you some speed out of the slot as well. Obviously, you got Cordero Patterson as your number 1 wide receiver. Your top 3 guys right here. Have 2 and 3 been a little bit inconsistent, especially Anthony Miller? Absolutely. But you think John Ross is going to come in here, learn the offense, and be an upgrade from one of those 2 guys? I don't believe it. I think this Bears receiving core is solid. It's been shaky at times with drops, but overall, I don't think John Ross is going to make this Bears passing attack elite by any means. If you're going to throw a 7th-round pick to Cincinnati, sure, but I don't think Cincinnati's going to ship him out for a 7th. So otherwise, I'm going to type my P for pass. I'm a man of the people. I'll leave it up to you guys. What should the Bears do? Should they trade for him? Type T for trade for Ross. Type P for pass. I'm going to type my P. I don't want John Ross. I've seen enough to know that I just don't think he's that good of a football player. You want to sign him in the offseason? Got no problem with that. Something I would definitely encourage you guys to do is to get going with Bet Rivers. We've told you guys about our sports betting partner for the past couple of weeks, and now you Indiana folks can get in on the action. If you're in the state of Indiana, go to chatsports.com/betin. The same deal applies. 100% deposit match once you get signed up to $250. Put down $250. They'll give you $250 for free. To actually place a bet, you must be in the state of Indiana or in the state of Illinois, that's been the case for the past few weeks now. That one, of course, same link as it always has been. Chatsports.com/betin. 100% deposit match. Indiana/BetIN, Illinois/BetIL. Very, very simple. And if you want to bet on the Bears this weekend, the line continues to favor you in that situation because the Rams are now 6-point favorites. They like LA in this game. I kind of like the Bears to at least cover, and I picked them to win outright, so I'm going to put some money on the Bears. You can do it too. Chatsports.com/BetIL if you're in the state of Illinois. Chatsports.com/BetIN if you're in the state of Indiana. So let's take a look a little bit at this game. A kind of a storyline that not a lot of people are talking about are Khalil Mack versus Aaron Donald, two of arguably maybe the top two defensive players since they entered the National Football League several years ago. They've played each exactly 100 games. That's kind of a crazy stat to think about there. Donald's had slightly more production in terms of sacks and quarterback hits and tackles for loss of that nature, but Khalil Mack has been an all-pro in his own right, three-time all-pro for Khalil Mack. He, of course, won the 2016 Defensive Player of the Year. It'll be fascinating to see which one of these defensive superstars plays at a higher level this weekend because Mack and Donald, they're as good as it gets when it comes to the defensive side of the football. Aaron Donald is fantastic. I love Khalil Mack, but I'll tell you what, man, Aaron Donald might not just be the best defensive player in the NFL. He might be the best player, but I'll leave it up to you guys. Try to be objective. Who's the better player? KM for Khalil Mack, AD for Aaron Donald. I love Mack, but I'm typing my AD. This dude is an absolute monster. Look at what he's done this year. 7.5 sacks in 6 games. The guy might have 20 sacks this year. It's unreal. 6 tackles for loss, a couple of forced fumbles. Mack is having a great bounce-back season. 4.5 sacks through 6 games. He may have 12, 13, 14, 15 sacks this year. Aaron Donald's just a little bit better. It's close, but Aaron Donald is a beast. But I love watching these two guys get after the quarterback and just beat up offensive linemen. It's going to be fun. This should be a fun game on Monday Night Football. It'll be a treat. Not sure yet if we're doing a watch party. Better chance, increasing your chances of getting that, got to subscribe to the channel. So make sure you do that. Hit that big red button. We'll have 1 or 2 more videos leading up to the game on Monday night. And even if we don't have a watch party, we will have post-game analysis. So keep it here. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. I'm Harrison Graham signing off here on Chicago Bears Now.